Welcome to Fire for Effect episode 1, part 2. Don't mind the dogs barking in the background. Before we get into it, I just want to thank Wade Holloway. Wade is an award-winning photographer from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and he also runs a podcast called Friday Bitch Day on YouTube. You can find it every Friday night. He goes live and then uploads it for viewing later. Friday nights at 8 o'clock. We had a really good time. Myself and JT got to sit down. Wade gave us a chance to plug the show, obviously, and bullshit about life in the military and a bunch of other things. So we had a really good time, and thank you, Wade. In part 2, we're going to get into pre-deployment training for Afghanistan, what that was like for us, and we had a good time shooting it. We were a little more relaxed than we were in part 1. We had a great time. I hope everybody enjoyed part 1, and I hope you enjoy part 2. So let's do this. Okay, I just want to give a quick recap of the Canadian Armed Forces involvement in Afghanistan. We got a lot of people that are 20 years old to 30 years old today that have no fucking recollection of 9/11. And based on the questionable info ops campaign of the CF and the government, might not really know what we did over there. Because I got a million people come up to me that don't have a fucking clue. They ask me, oh, are you peacekeeping over there? Yeah, no. So, like I said earlier, the mission started late 2001. That was in Kandahar, out of Kandahar Airfield, and supporting offensive operations with the U.S. And that went to 2003. In 2003, that's when the International Security Assistance Force, or ISAF, became a thing. Up to then, it was Operation Enduring Freedom, right?
Enduring Freedom.
OEF.
Yeah.
Which was the U.S.-led op. Even though that op carried on, there was a bunch of shit in parallel. So 2003 to 2005, we were in Kabul, conducting all of our operations out of there, supporting the government. We had embedded training teams starting to work with security forces, local security forces. And then in 2005, we went back down to Kandahar to form the bulk of the battle groups that successfully rotated in and out of there for the next 9 more years, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the combat mission ended in 2011, which is the year after, fucking 6 months after we left. We were basically the last full-on roto. The RCRs did get into it a fair bit while we were gone. But ultimately, they handed over the whole thing to the, I think it was the Marines outside the city. And in the city, it was...
Because it was 97th.
97th MP Company from the United States Army was in Kandahar City with us.
Yeah.
And they kind of took that over. But I'm pretty sure it was U.S. Marine Corps. I don't know which one. That basically took over the bulk of our AO outside the city. Mm-hmm. All the RC South shit when we left. So... Canada's total commitment to Afghanistan as far as troops on the ground was 14 years of the 20 that have passed since 9/11. With all troops, short of maybe a staff position in Kabul or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
2014, we were fucking done. So, there's your background on Canada's involvement. Thumbnail sketch. There's tons of shit on the internet you can read if you want to learn about it. I encourage you to. It's something that should not be forgotten. Very much popularized by current events, which we're going to get to, in a bit here. I think right now we're going to get into when we were going. Like I said, my first one was 07, 08. Just a short history. Came back, and they asked me to go back again in a roundabout way, and I agreed to. And... we'll jump into the pre-deployment piece, but let's get to you and how things evolved for you, because now you knew you wanted to go to Afghanistan after getting to ground zero and seeing what the fuck was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine that's very powerful and emotional. And now you're in the window. You're going to get to go. So
Okay.
let's get into that shit.
So when I was getting ready to go, I was still doing TCCC, so the Tactical Combat Casualty Care course.
Just give me a quick thumbnail sketch of what that actually is.
So that's combat first aid, which again we can get into some detail about, but it's basically combat first aid dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
It gives you a more comprehensive idea of care under fire. So win the firefight, help out your buddy. Tactical field care, do some work, make sure you plug all the holes, do some airway stuff, and then the CASEVAC phase. So you can start at a very early stage letting the leadership know this guy needs to be transported. So it's those are the big principles of that course. That I was delivering.
Having been a marginally successful candidate of that course, as you know, me and Dave were on it. Dave was my boss in Afghanistan, who actually had to use those skills during an incident. I could put my hand on my heart and say to you and to everybody, and I've told you this before, it's one of the best fucking courses I've ever done. It's very realistic. It's different than your bullshit basic combat first aid. It really gets you into the zone of what you have to do to take care of somebody who's been either blown up from an IED, rocket attack, RPG, small arms fire, fucking whatever, and be able to stay in the fight, yet take care of somebody.
Exactly. You summarize it best. That course makes you ready to save someone's life in those settings.
Yeah,
in that setting. Like that's really what it does. So for me, I was still teaching that course when I got my message saying, "Yep, you're gonna go to Afghanistan." So for me, I got.
Well, you were running the whole program.
Yeah, I ran the whole program for
guy.
a couple of years. Yeah, for a couple of years. 2007, 2009 was the time frame that I was involved in it, and trained a lot of people, and trained 2 task force for it. Actually, sorry.
Yeah, so
I trained 3.
Running that program was not part of your pre-deployment. That's what you were doing.
Mm-hmm. And then switched over to pre-deployment.
Then you got picked up for your position. Yeah.
So my position was the Bison crew commander. So I was on top of a big armored vehicle with a weapon in front of me.
The Bison ambulance is an armored ambulance.
It's an armored
ambulance. We fucking bought in the early 90s. I want to say 94 we got them. Based on the old AVGP platform, which is Armored Vehicle General Purpose. I don't know. It was good in its day, but I mean...
I didn't want to get blown up in it over there.
How there's not a lab variant of that, with all the lab variants that are out there, I don't know.
Something's coming. That's what we've been told. But...
do they still use that thing?
Yes.
No.
Last
Does one field ambulance have those?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah, it's still a thing.
Can
man.
you get parts for them?
Well, I don't know. You probably 3D print them now. But anyway.
Okay, sorry. I'm just blown away that thing's still in service.
Solid piece of kit, man. It did what it needed to do.
That photo off because it shit its guts out on the road. We had to fucking wait for recovery. Anyway.
There's more to that. That could be a whole other discussion.
Not today.
Anyway, got picked up. That was my role. And I had to go to Shiloh in Manitoba, Canada.
Yeah.
I had to go there for my workup training. And so I was embedded within 2 VP.
Right.
Because they were the PRT group at that time, because that's how things rotated with the mission.
PRT is Provincial Reconstruction Team. And so its role over there was to, it's like it says, Reconstruction Team.
Yeah.
To help rebuild all the infrastructure after decades of war over there. Fucking train people up and all that good...
Provide stability.
Touchy-feely stuff. I shouldn't say that. That's a bit of a too far to the left word. It's to reconstruct the country after fucking getting the shit pounded out of it by either Civil War or Russians for decades. So it was a big part of the hearts and minds process. So that's where
JT was based out of.
Yeah, and then eventually, I'm not sure how it worked out, but we ended up being embedded with yourselves as the quick reaction, as the quick reaction force. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's how it worked out. But that's my pre-deployment was all there. It was cold. It was a lot of marching. It was a lot of ranges, and I had the opportunity to. Well, I ended up getting picked up to train people in combat first aid.
Yeah.
Again, the dialed down version of TCCC, and then I still had to deliver some TCCC courses.
But you guys did your own.
We did our own training.
Advanced training in Suffield, Canadian Forces Base Suffield in Alberta.
It's true, the tactical medicine, which the best way to kind of look at that is TAC-Med, but again, dialed up to, I'd say, 1,000. It was a completely submersive...
TCCC dialed up to 1,000.
Sorry, what did I say?
TAC-Med.
My apologies. TCCC dialed up to 1,000. That's what TAC-Med was.
Right.
So that course, the best way to put it is prepared medics to save lives in Afghanistan. If the individual had a pulse and they had bleeding that could be controlled, if they had an airway that needed to be fixed, you could do it, and then you could drop a needle in a guy's chest to let the air out.
And state-of-the-art equipment. Like, I obviously didn't do it. It's specific to medics, but everything I heard is state-of-the-art. It's one of the best training that a medic getting ready to deploy into a theater of operations, a high-intensity area like Afghanistan was, that's the shit, right?
It was,
That's
yeah.
the fucking Cadillac of courses.
The Cadillac of courses. Okay. Yeah. Very taxing, very physical. And I like how you mentioned like some of the best equipment you can get. It was some of the best equipment you can get or utilized at the time, but also it was really lean because they had real-time experience using this equipment and understanding that the more equipment you carry, the heavier you're going to be. And at the end of the day, you still need to carry that casualty out. So it just gave you a really holistic view of how to actually approach like a trauma scenario and deal with the casualty.
Yeah.
Stabilize them, make sure that they're viable for transport, and get them out. And really, at the end of the day, you'd have a no-hook, a private barking at either like some of the higher leadership on the ground saying, this is what we need for assets to get this guy out. And
so
you
how much pre-deployment training did you do that was, mission specific or for that deployment? What was your total time? Because my story is obviously a little bit different.
Mine was 9 months. So like our pre-deployment training was 9 months. But to scale it down to the medical aspect of it, we had 3 to 4 months of solid medical training, which was TAC-Med.
And then the rest was either training guys.
No, it wasn't even training guys. It was in Suffield. When we were in Suffield.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So you had 3 to 4 months of medical training.
Yeah.
And then the balance of the 7, 8 months, whatever.
Yeah.
5, 6 months.
Yeah.
Was
IBTS.
Army training.
Army training. Yeah. IBTS, making sure all that's,
But
individual.
during that time, you were also tasked out to run combat first aid, fucking whatever.
Yeah, whatever else that the task force.
Because you ran TCCC, because my TCCC course is during pre-deployment.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So I didn't necessarily coordinate those courses. I would have been a one-on-one instructor for those. Yeah.
Because we were lucky. Counter ID's pre-deployment training, we ran it our own.
Yes.
With guys from other organizations to come support us, and we did courses in the States, the UK, blah, 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 blah. And we were 13 months all in. So we had to have our shit together in order to show up for exercise fucking whatever it was called in Suffield, Maple something, in order to train the battle group.
Exactly.
Right? Like 3,600 guys are going to go through all of our fucking scenarios.
Yeah,
right?
You guys did a bunch of lanes, because the one I remember is... You had to convince everybody to fucking... how much C4 was it that you blew up right beside everybody?
We had fucking Bangalore torpedoes. We had C4.
Yeah.
We had everything in order to create the most realistic improvised explosive device bang you could safely do in Canada.
Yep.
So we had cars brought out. You saw all the shit
Oh, yeah.
brought out. So we had to be ready in advance of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it was like 13 months. So like I literally came off leave from the last tour
Mm-hmm.
and was starting pre-deployment training. You know, I was in Toronto on the Scenes of Crime officer course, fucking in the UK in the Weapons Intelligence Team course, mirror image in Utah, search advisor in Fort Leonard Wood, United States, Missouri. We were all over the fucking place. The EOD operator number 1s and 2s were doing the large vehicle borne IED course in Las Vegas. They were down in Florida at the EOD school getting brushed up on shit. There was a lot.
You guys did a lot of
going
training.
on. A lot going on.
Yeah.
So by the time we joined everybody else, we were like ready.
Mm-hmm.
So now it was just train the force, which is one of 3 counter ID lines of operations, but that's for another day, to get ready to go. So we did basically Suffield, that, you know, Maple Guardian in Wainwright.
Yeah, it was, whatever it was. Yeah.
Whatever. And then fucking leave admin and then out the door, right?
Yep, that's about right.
So you were in Shiloh.
Yep.
With 2 PPCLIs, so CFB Shiloh's in Manitoba, Canada. Like, how was that? Was it a good experience or was it a goat rodeo? Like,
it was my first deployment.
I guess if it's your first tour, you got nothing to baseline it against.
Well, I have lots of baseline against.
Okay.
There could have been some efficiencies, but at the same time, when you're trying to build a culture of camaraderie, when you're trying to build a culture of trust, and at the same time get a lot of people through all the battle task standards that need to be accomplished, I can understand the time frame that they had in place.
And that was the same problem we ran into in Suffield. They said, well, you basically got to get 3,600 people through all your fucking, I think we had 4 different stands, 4 or 5.
Because the ones
in like
but
10
what were the
days.
fucking stands again? Because it was...
Well, we had what we call the petting zoo.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was set up to basically show people what an actual real fucking IED looked like.
I remember
These
that
were
now.
real, rendered safe, improvised explosive devices constructed or from theater to show them what they are in the different types. So that was one. One was to show a blast demonstration.
So that was the one where we were in the vehicles.
No,
That wasn't that
that's
one.
a
Eh?
different
Okay,
one.
yeah.
That one was just stand on a hill and fucking see what different sized bombs look like and how the shockwave moves. I'm trying to keep this simple. You know, to basically see, okay, this is what a 25-pound shot looks like. Bang.
If something blows up, this is
right,
what you need
bang.
to look at. Yeah.
So that was kind of important. The third one was VPS, which I ran, vulnerable point.
Yeah. Vulnerable point search, yes.
Search, yeah. So you knew how to, if you came across, you know, something where there could be a suspected IED, you knew how to move through it. So that was the third one.
It was the inverted flying V. That's what it was.
Well, fuck, I got rid of that. But anyway.
Gross
It's a long story.
oversimplification. Yeah.
And then the fourth one was the actual cash sim one, the big one. So that was where we blew a fucking car up and then had all the guys simulated casualties everywhere. And the guy, that was the final X one where you come in and do.
Because that was part of the lane training though. That one, wasn't it?
No.
Because I remember that scenario, and I remember 2VP fucking just nailing it. Like it was.
Yeah, we like I said.
Yeah.
The point of my story.
Yeah.
Was we had to get 3,600 fucking guys through this.
Yeah.
In 10 days, so they could carry on with, you know, level 3, 4, whatever training, which is fucking more advanced training.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, how in the fuck are we supposed to do this? Like, there's no way. We get a convoy show up to go through one of these scenarios with like 30 vehicles. So, boom. Well, the only guys that know what's going on is like the first 3 vehicles. The rest of the guys are in the back on their phone checking fucking Facebook or whatever. They don't have no idea what's going on. So as good as the training was, it was crammed into a tight time frame to punch everybody through.
Now, did you guys have to do that, like one scenario in the day and then one scenario at night?
Fuck no, we did like 5 a day.
Yeah.
We reset.
And then just did the next one.
Reset.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Dave were going to the TDM, the ammunition storage area, to get more fucking bang 3 times a day.
Okay.
Just to feed the beast.
Okay.
And get everybody through. So yeah, so that was Suffield, but it was good training for, you know, I got lots of guys say, fuck, that's the best training I ever got prior to a deployment. And then Wainwright was, you know, more of that higher level, command level, moving the chess pieces around the board thing. So that was kind of a big dog fuck for us, but I don't know what everybody else got out of it. And that was it, man. That was pre-deployment training. It was the front end of it, where we ran our own, was the best training we'd ever done, because basically we were all adults, small unit, and our OC at the time, great guy, then Major Chris Cotton, says, well, what do we need to do to get ready to go? He had some ideas. I had some ideas because I was just back from theater and made a whole bunch of changes to the way we were doing things. Dave just came out of special operations. He was in CSOR prior to that, so he had some ideas, and we put all the ideas together that everybody had, and we built our own training package, and fucking off we went, man. It was about as good as it was going to get.